Frank Fournier, who photographed Omayra Sanchez after a devastating volcanic eruption, later recalled that he felt totally powerless in front of this little girl who was facing death with courage and dignity. In November 1985, the small town of Armero, Colombia, was inundated by a massive mudslide, brought on by the eruption of a nearby volcano. 13-year-old Omayra Sanchez was buried in a giant vat of debris and neck-deep water. Rescue efforts were futile, and after 3 days trapped up to her waist in mud, the Colombian teenager died. French photographer Frank Fournier, who stayed by the dying girl's side until she drew her last breath, captured her horrifying ordeal in real time. This is the tragic story of Omayra Sanchez. The Nevado del Ruiz volcano in Colombia, at a height of 17,500 feet above sea level, had shown signs of activity since the 1840s. But by September 1985, the tremors had become so powerful that it began to alarm the public. Mostly residents in nearby towns such as Armero, a town of 31,000, that was about 30 miles east of the volcano's center. Then on November 13, 1985, the Nevado del Ruiz erupted. It was a small explosion, melting between 5 and 10% of ice cap that covered the arena's crater. But it was enough to trigger a devastating lahar, or mud flow. Running at a speed of roughly 25 miles per hour, the mud flow reached Armero and covered 85% of the city in thick, heavy sludge. The city's roadways, houses, and bridges were destroyed, engulfed by mud flows up to a mile wide. The flood also trapped residents trying to flee, many of them unable to escape the sheer force of the mud that burst into the small town. While some were lucky enough only to suffer injuries, most of the town's people perished. As many as 25,000 people died. Only a fifth of Armero's population survived. Despite the incredible devastation, it would take hours before initial rescue efforts began. This left many like Omayra Sanchez to endure long, terrifying deaths trapped beneath the mud. Remember, if it's more interesting, you can find it here. Make sure to like, follow, and comment below.